Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, today we're going to be talking a little bit about Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. As you guys know, I'm a Kawhi Leonard supporter. I'm a Kawhi Leonard fan. Became a fan of his towards the last few years of his stint with the San Antonio Spurs. It was really around the time, I think it was like around 2014, 2015 when I found out that he was working with Kobe Bryant, and then I started to look at his game, and it started to kind of mirror Kobe in some ways, although Kawhi's game is a little bit different. But he started to incorporate some of Kobe's shots, and I was like, man, this guy, he's reminding me a lot of Kobe, and as Kobe was getting close to retiring, I was like, what player moving forward am I going to support? So I was like, okay, I like Kawhi. And of course, he went on his run, and with the Toronto Raptors and all of that. And I was one of the people out there that actually felt that, by him signing with the Clippers that first year in 2020, that they were going to win a championship, right? I was amongst those people that thought that. But we all know how that ended. The Los Angeles Lakers ended up winning the championship. Clippers blew a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets. And ever since then, it's been absolute nothing but disappointment with Kawhi Leonard. Total disappointment. If you're a Clippers supporter, Kawhi Leonard supporter, first year he got to LA, he only played 57 games. That was due to the lockout. The very next season, he played 52 games. And last year, he played 52 out of the 82 games. And of course, all of the major, and of course, he missed an entire season. And the thing that has caused a lot of people to feel disappointed with Kawhi is just his lack of availability. And a lot of it has to do with his health, and I think some bad habits that they picked up with his time with the San Antonio Spurs, when they were the ones that really ushered in this era of load management, something that stuck with Kawhi Leonard. He load managed for majority of the time when he was with the Toronto Raptors that season. As a matter of fact, he only played 60 out of the 82 games. But to be fair, he was coming off of an injury, so we can understand that. But unfortunately, they just took that and ran with it, and now it became commonplace with Kawhi Leonard. So what happened? As you guys know, Kawhi is getting closer to the end of his contract with the Clippers. I believe he has one more year left. And a lot of people have been speculating whether or not Kawhi Leonard is going to, if the Clippers are going to offer him a contract extension. And then this morning I was going through the internet, came across one report from Fadeaway World where it spoke about the Clippers are not in a hurry to extend Kawhi Leonard. And then I actually saw the full report on ESPN, what is it, on the Low podcast, where they were discussing this. And it turns out that in fact the Clippers, they do have some trepidations about moving forward with Kawhi Leonard. So what we want to do is want to play what this report had to say here for you guys. We want you guys to listen to it carefully, and then we're going to come back and give you guys our closing thoughts. Take a listen to that.
The one thing that the Clippers are hanging their hat on is that, look, when we have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George healthy, we're good. We know what we can do. I mean, we know what we can do with just one guy, with Kawhi Leonard. I mean, it's very possible. And I remember we're talking to Denver Nuggets people in the second round when they faced the Phoenix Suns, that they were wondering, had Kawhi Leonard stayed healthy in that first round, they might have been facing the Clippers instead of the Suns. That's how good Kawhi was. This is a pivotal summer for them, Zach. I mean, you're right. There are so many things that could go wrong for the Clippers. What happens if the Clippers start to negotiate an extension, which by the way, I hear is kind of quiet right now. There's no rush on an extension for Kawhi Leonard. Then Paul George will be eligible in September. Clearly the Clippers are going to not want to, if they have their way, have it be an extension that's reasonable for them, just because while they love their two stars have just not been available due to injuries. And there's no arguing that fact. And because of the new CBA and how just incredibly punishing it can be on teams that pay the tax, like the Clippers, they really have to watch it. Look, I think with this James Harden thing, for example, it's real interesting, Zach. They're sitting there and they're wondering, okay, what exactly are the Sixers going to do? Are the Sixers actually going to trade James Harden or not? I think they might have some doubts about that, but they'll be ready to pounce if so. But even if they try to make a trade for James Harden, everything I've heard, they don't want to part with Terrence Mann. And I think part of the thing also, they have a lot of expiring contracts, perhaps a Norm Powell, perhaps a Ivica Zubac. But Terrence Mann is somebody that can bridge the gap for them when they go to their new arena. I think they like a homegrown prospect who seems to get better every year. he is a big part of their plans. They are planning with him ahead. So I'm not going to say never. If it comes down to, hey, James Harden wants to come to Clippers and it's going to cost you Terrence Mann, well, we'll see what the Clippers are going to do, because I do think the window on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in that era to win a championship, we might be a quarter open left, right? I don't know. I mean, I feel like they are approaching that before they move to the new arena. Those guys are not getting any younger. And certainly we've seen what's been health-wise. So at some point, the Clippers are going to have to decide, what do we want to do? Do we want to go for the championship now and try to win it? And seeing that maybe the end of the West is stacked, but also we still have a chance. There's no dynasty out there in the West that we have to deal with. The Nuggets are great, but there's a lot of parity out there.
Yeah, I don't think the Clippers view this as dire or as dire as we're framing it. I think they look at the West and say, oh, Phoenix, I mean, we gave them some issues for a hot second without Kawhi and Paul George. Like, we played them tough. They have depth issues still. Denver lost its, 6th and 8th guys, or whatever you want to say. Bruce Brown and Jeff Green were. Lakers, well, they got health problems too. Warriors, they got health problems, age problems, depth problems. Memphis, we think they're going to be ready. Kings, we think they're going to be ready, and on and on. But I look at the Clippers and, Kawhi looked awesome. Kawhi looked like Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi looked like apex Kawhi Leonard for 2 games in the playoffs. 2 games. Now, it also looked great for the 30, 35 regular season games before that. But 41 minutes in game 1, 39 minutes in game 2, over. And Paul George obviously missed the entire playoffs. And not only that, the vaunted Clippers depth vaunted by me too.
Yeah.
Robert Covington, fringe player. Marcus Morris, fringe player by the end of last season. Luke Kennard, gone for Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon, gone. Like, some of the depth and lineup flexibility, oh my God, they can play big and small and 5 wings and all that, has gone by the wayside. And that makes me not just as nervous as the 2 stars never being available, but that makes me nervous too from a Clippers perspective. And it just, you mentioned it, and I've said this for 2 months, including, I think, with you, 2-3 months, maybe longer. I just don't see a world where the Clippers give these guys 4-year, 5-year, whatever it is, max extensions, fully guaranteed. It's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think it can happen. I don't know how you can do that, given that they've played less than half the games together for the last 4 seasons. And, I don't know how that goes over with these guys if that's what it comes to. And you're saying nothing so far on Kawhi. Kawhi has not been a guy who takes extensions to begin with. He likes to play it out.
So you heard what the report had to say. Now, here are my thoughts. I think it is right for the Clippers to be cautious about moving forward with Kawhi Leonard, given his injury history. Also, given the fact that he is someone that practices load management. Now, some people will say, well, they do it because of his health. But I think Kawhi Leonard also actively partakes in it, because I think there's some players that will push back on it, although, it can cause some kind of internal conflicts between players and the medical staff, which we're going to get to a little bit later today. In terms of the Clippers trusting Kawhi, I think Kawhi Leonard is good enough to help deliver a championship when he's playing. But the question is always, when is he going to play? When is that going to be? And after you've gone through this experiment for 4 years and you've only actually had one time where you saw this team actually healthy in the playoffs, which was the first year that they were together, if I'm them, I would be very cautious moving forward, because now you're just going off of hope, right? And that's a very bad place to be whenever you're doing these type of things, where you're just hoping. Because while you're hoping for these guys to be healthy, Kawhi, Paul George, and others, what you're doing is you're also guaranteeing these guys a lot of money. You're guaranteeing them a lot of money. Now, do these injuries, is it Kawhi Leonard's fault that he got injured? No, it's not his fault. You can't control some of these things the majority of the time, but that doesn't still change the disappointment. That still doesn't change the fact that the Clippers need to be cautious about moving forward with these guys. So to me, I think these guys are 100% correct about their report. I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers are a little bit cautious about extending Kawhi, to be quite honest with you, because number one, he's getting older. And number two, whenever you have a star that's getting older and he has an injury past, It's going to be very hard for you to kind of fathom him getting healthy moving forward. Kawhi Leonard just turned 32. He's still young in basketball years. He hasn't played a lot of games, so he maybe has a lot of mileage left on his legs. But if I'm the Clippers, I'll still be a little bit cautious. So this report does not surprise me. And as a matter of fact, I think is the right approach to take. You need to be cautious. You don't just run and give guys like this money when you have big question marks surrounding their health. So these are my thoughts. What I want to know from you guys is simply this: do you think Kawhi Leonard moves forward with the Clippers beyond this year, or do you think that we could possibly see Kawhi Leonard in another destination moving forward? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we catch you guys on the next show.